Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stream of Chaos. My name is James, and I am the Keeper for today's game of Keeper. What am I talking about? No, I'm not. I'm the GM for today's game of Rivers of London. Look at that, too memorized on this section of the script. But yes, we are playing Rivers of London today, and I am joined, as always, by this fantastic cast of folks who I will get to introduce themselves in just a second. But first of all, a couple of quick things to say. First, thank you to Roll20 and to Sirenscape, tools which we use to improve our game. And secondly, and very importantly, the Ennies are currently happening. Gen Con is right now happening over in Indianapolis, and Chaosium is up for a bunch of stuff, including some awards for community content, some awards for a couple of products that were released, and some various bits and pieces from the extended Chaosium, family, I suppose. So there is going to be a little bit of crossover between the people who are watching this stream regularly and probably watching some of the Ennies live stuff. We may refer to it a little bit during the episode itself, just for a little bit of context.
The biggest thing would be, if anyone's watching the Ennies one and sees the awards come up, can you put them in the chat?
Yeah, let us know.
I don't know where to find it easily, and I can't watch the stream.
we're doing stuff.
Because, of course, the other big crossover is the Ennies being hosted by Bridget Jeffries. The fantastic community coordinator for Chaosium.
And frequent appearer on Stream of Chaos and Chaosium stream related stuff. But let's move on at this point. I'm going to throw us across to Art to get them to introduce themselves, please.
Hi, I'm Art. Yeah. I've had like 3 hours sleep.
All right.
Fire alarms, fun stuff.
Yeah. I think I've heard it was like
character.
we've had 8 fire alarms in my building in a week. The system's busted. So I'm very tired, but I'm
you
here.
lit 10 fires and 2 of them weren't.
Look, the crossover between me and my character is maybe larger than I let on, but that's besides the point. Yeah, look. I've been making friends with a lot of firefighters. That's IRL ended game.
We will give you the benefit of the doubt this time. Throwing across to Jackson.
Hey, that's me. I'm Jackson. And I'm playing PC Patrick Lewis, database clerk, police officer, apprentice wizard, and responsible for letting an animated mummy loose on the streets of London.
Again, you've successfully managed to bury the most interesting even later.
That's right.
It's funny that you got something more interesting than Apprentice Wizard in there, frankly.
That's the plan. It's like a reverse pyramid structure in journalism. I'm putting the most important information at the end.
Very apt. Let's throw across to Lucy. Or Dave, rather.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no. That's I can do it backwards. Hello. I'm a dog called Lucy. And I'm played by It sounds like I'm having a breakdown.
It sounds like you're the dog from Up. Hi.
Hi, I'm Lucy.
I have just met you, and I love you.
I'd like to be your friend.
You smell like you're Vestigia. Hi, I am Dave, a human, and I am playing in this game Lucy, who is a dog and an investigator and a member of the Folly. And I'm here to solve/commit crimes and find/eat sausages.
All very sensible activities. And last but not least, we have Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I'm playing Barton Oslo, the accountant by day, paranormal photographer and investigator by night, and dad to all.
Yep, and that doesn't even.
And then wizard.
Doesn't even get
a wizard. Wizard, hedge wizard. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that I do. It's just you gotta have hobbies. When you're a single man of an age, you need to have hobbies.
It's like how you don't need to bring up like every time that you tried carpentry for a bit. Hobbies can be independent, and that's everybody. So we'll jump in now, but just one last time, we're playing Rivers of London. Specifically, we're playing Going Underground, which is available on chaosium.com. You can also get the domestic there, which is a Rivers of London solo scenario. It is inside the core book as well, and it is currently up for one of the Ennies, which we are going to be referencing a bit as we continue our adventures, where we have gone underground in search of a mysterious apparition that was lurking around the British Museum station, the abandoned station. Having gone there, we found that there is, as well as a ghost, a mummy wandering around. Managed to convince it to come with us, and now we're at the surface, having just spooked the mummy, and it has taken off down a urban street, and needs to be caught pretty damn quickly. So, with that being said, we can now jump into the wonderful chase rules for Rivers of London, which I'm a bit of a fan of. Couple of things happen all at once, first of all. So even though your instinct, Lucy, might be to take off like a greyhound and just grab the mummy immediately, we have to do a really cool group luck roll situation. We get to do, yes.
We have the honor.
So what we do here is basically, when we start a chase, we define whether the favor of the chase, the circumstances around us, land to support the person who is fleeing or the person who is chasing. Actually, it's not quite true. Okay. Technically, we do it to see if it supports the investigators or the NPC, whether you are pursuing or fleeing. Yeah. And we do that with a group luck roll. Which is, the group is slightly misleading because in fact it's who has the lowest luck. And we are past midnight, if that is relevant now, Pudding, because your luck will have reset while you were down there.
Yep, my luck is equal to my power. My power is 80.
Excellent.
Oh, so and we'll get a luck in.
Yeah, I start roll. Every 24 hours, my luck resets to 80. So, yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Good work for some.
I still don't really use it a lot because I am me, but theoretically.
That's right. Yeah. So
I'm 45, and I did my luck improvement roll at the end of last session, so that is where I am.
Do my luck improvement roll now.
Let's do it.
The flip side for me is I don't get to do improvement rolls at the beginning of every session. So if we have multiple sessions over the course of a day, I'm stuck with my luck, whereas everyone else gets to refresh. But if we have sessions like this one where it spans my reset time, then I get 80 when we start, and then halfway through I get 80 again.
And again, the reset time determined, it can be different, and it's just we've had a couple of midnight focus scenarios recently.
Mine is specifically because the Fire of London started just after midnight.
Yeah, it's in law, it's in canon, it works.
But it can be, as long as it's like a regular time, approximately once a day. So that's kind of it.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. Perfect. So, do you need to also make a improvement roll? No, we've got Barton.
I did it last time.
Okay, fantastic. So,
end of last session.
Final luck then.
I'm 45.
Yep. So
same.
Okay, double at 45. Any preference between the two of you?
What are you, Jackson? What did you get?
61. I'm on 61 right now.
Okay.
But it's the group luck roll is whoever's got the lowest luck? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Can I express a desire for the dog?
I think the dog
should the dog lead the chase.
I was going to throw my leash in the ring.
I think the dog should do it.
Lucy, it looks like, sure, hope you don't run, buddy. And as soon as he starts to run, just goes like, yes! Bolts after him. So I'll make a luck roll.
Perfect.
That's a 3.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, it's over for
you.
It's so over for you.
That is
stupid big bag of running bones. This is the best day of my life.
Stupid meat popsicle.
Oh god, that's
delicious creature.
So what this means is that the circumstances of the chase are going to be skewed in your favor. In the context of the area that's around you, it's going to mean something like, okay, you might have. Here was going to be my pitch, but since you made the roll, Lucy, you can feel free to massage this a little bit. You have called a little bit of support. That's something that we established. You got some vans in so that you're going to be able to do the transport. You called up people who would be able to help move the mummy safely and carefully. So there are a bunch of NPCs around here. If this was a really bad roll. It might have been that members of the press had shown up, or it might have been that there's just a ton of people and you are on the wrong side of everything. The mummy takes off and starts running down the street while you all have to extricate yourself from being in the car or something like that. But the flip side could be that the people who are all around happen to be police whose specialty is cordoning off areas, and they all go, "You get the mummy, we'll go do that. Up, nothing to see here. Move along."
That was going to be exactly my pitch. I think like I don't want to stop the chase because Lord knows I love a run. But what I would like is to avoid the members of the public. So it's like, comes up and the mummy bolts straight down a back alley, or like someone with a lot of obstacles, but not a lot of people in the way. So we're going for stealth.
Absolutely. That makes total sense, and I think it's good. So you've got a pretty good angle. You take off straight down the alley, streaming after the mummy. The police all kind of share a glance because no one's quite as quick off the mark as you are. But before long, on instinct, several of them start yelling to rush and take, set up a cordon, make sure that nobody comes close. And the circumstances are in your favor, so you are pretty sure that there are not a bunch of members of the public hanging around right now. If you can stop the chase, I almost said arrest the chase, which would actually be kind of apt in this situation, but if you can stop the chase quickly, you probably manage to not get much exposure here. Lucy's taken off. What is everyone else's intention? Are you going to stay where you are? Are you going to give chase? Are you going to try and do something?
I'm going to give the heaviest sigh and chase.
Perfect.
I think just to really lean in to who I am as a person today, I'm going with my immediate instinct, which is to look directly at PC Lewis with a massive grin on my face and go,
"Goblin
told
energy."
you so!" And then piss bolt as quick, I have the knowledge.
Yeah.
I also have athletics. We have established parkour my way around this city. I will get on a toot or leap over fences or fling myself around light poles. Let's go. This is my jam. I move fluidly. We'll see. I still have to roll. Maybe I'll faceplant. But my intention is to do a very stupid thing and just be like, hell yeah, let's go.
Sprint
I feel like in this,
forward.
I probably in the back of my head go, ha ha ha, Lewis, and then go, ooh, Lucy and I get to do a chase.
Speedy time.
Yeah.
Always.
I like that you didn't include Barton in that because we all know what's going to happen with his attempt.
Very specifically, I think it's less about Barton's going to be slow and more I like Lucy the dog. Dogs like chasing things. Hell yeah, I get to do a thing with my favorite dog. Let's go.
You get to chase things.
Yeah, you can absolutely tell Pudding is the person who has the vibe of going down to a park with a dog and the dog getting tired before they do.
Yes.
Of playing fetch. Just, oh my god, so much energy.
Perfect.
Folly also just pulls out a handful of jerky and shoves it in their mouth
as
they start it, because I gotta burn that fuel, baby.
It's very mummy flesh looking.
You make eye contact.
PC Lewis, you've tried your best, but it is apt that as the officer in charge, all blame is falling on you.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, nothing's gone wrong yet. We're at the very start of the chase, Jim. We can still resolve the situation.
Yeah.
So as everyone else sprints off, PC Lewis was never the best at PE, so is going to cast Impello Palmer.
Okay.
Conjure a magical barrier of air in front of the mummy.
All right, that's absolutely fantastic.
Resolves.
Now, here's a quick thing. There's some refinements to the chase system for Rivers of London, so it works a little bit differently than Call of Cthulhu, which means that if you are going to be attacking, which totally valid, you're considered to join the chase. And what you do is you join your chase and then you forego you instead of running and trying to catch up, you are going to try and take a shot. But we'll move on to the next step of the actual chase mechanics, right? So basically what happens here is that it is and I'm outing myself as not knowing a lot about tennis, even though I did a little bit of tennis at high school. It's basically I believe it's a deuce situation. That's sort of up advantage, down advantage.
Yeah. Okay.
This chase resolves
Deuce, spelt weirdly because French.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe
This chase resolves when either of you manage to get 2 points of advantage, basically.
Yep.
And
2 points ahead.
Yeah,
You gotta get advantage, then you gotta win the set.
There's
game.
also four of us rolling against the one creature, so it feels like in our favor.
Definitely skewed.
Well, these aren't collective rolls as determined by the lot of you. This is like any
Each
one
of
of you
us.
can manage to get up to that value, and it means that you reach and engage. And what we do is then the chase scene ends, and you leap across to like a combat scene to resolve it through there or something like that. But the more important thing is that if you lose a certain amount, the mummy is considered to get away. Right, if they get a certain level of advantage. So as we start off, right, everyone's on a flat 0 here, and we start to move forward from that. You're going to be making an attack, PC Lewis, which is totally fine.
Can't do it yet.
Not yet?
Nope. It specifically says, I've just read the chase rules because it's fun. As mentioned in the previous section, if the investigator gains 2 chase successes before incurring 2 chase failures, they catch up with the NPC and can now try to tackle them, hit them, trip them up, or whatever else they wish to do. By the rules as it sounds, you actually can't attempt to do anything to them.
Range is a separate
range is
There's
different?
range
Dope.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Cool, I missed that bit.
PC list stops and does not proceed, but gets to do a thing.
Got
and then
it.
once we
Thank you,
catch
thank you.
the fucker, we can take him out.
Exactly.
That
so you can't
makes
fight and
a lot more
harass. But
standing here, I'm casting the spell, but I'm not joining the chase.
Here we go. If you decides not to make a ranged attack, then play moves on. I understand. Thank you. Ignore me. Continue.
Perfect. Is Impello Palma one of these spells that you have mastered?
It sure is, and I'm so glad you asked. So I'm going to get bonus die on casting it.
You absolutely are. And as we have established, the second you start casting it, you see you see the mummy start to kind of twist ever so slightly, as if they have detected your vestigia in the air. So I'll get you to make that magic roll.
Very good. So I've mastered it, so I can boost it, which lets me make the barrier for 3 magic points. If I spend an extra magic point, I can double the size of the barrier.
Yeah, so you can
a double door.
You can
Is that going to help me?
Oh, you could functionally block off the entire alleyway. Look, I actually think that if you smack something into somebody's face here, it's an impello. It's not a cinder situation. So you're not trying to grab and hold. You're just trying to.
No,
whack.
I'm actually putting a barrier in front so that the mummy runs straight into it.
Exactly.
That's the go.
Like in Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if the rule for the chase is that they are always counted as dodging. So if they dodge, then it just means that they're a little bit too quick and get in front of your barrier.
Yeah,
that's fine.
I think that the larger barrier, like the best I could probably see this here is if you do the larger barrier, penalty die on the dodge roll. I think for the
fantastic. I'll give you that. So 4 magic points, 1/4 of my magic points for this one spell.
Woofed.
Yeah. But I'll give it a go. So my magic skill is 70. I have a bonus die because I've mastered the spell.
Okay.
So that's not great.
No, but
this is better. Hey, 10.
Hey, that is
10.
better.
That's very, very good.
Half success.
And again, you are, quick and skilled enough firing this through that although Mummy might detect that you're casting magic, doesn't appear to want to, dart
Duel
back.
me.
Yeah. Well, so the lutte sans merci, or the which I think is the coolest name ever, the struggle without mercy, is the wizard duel as they grammar start to knock each other back, but. You'd really want to avoid getting into that, and that'd be something that Nightingale and all of your teachers would have said, that if you're against another practitioner, like no, run.
Don't do that.
Very bad idea. This is a more powerful spell. What does it look like you casting this? Is it as bland as you casting other magic, or is it as cool as you working on a spreadsheet?
Yeah, no, I think it's subtle. I think you wouldn't really notice it. I think Patrick just kind of furrows his brow like he's got a headache, like he's trying to work through a particularly difficult, programming formula or something. Maybe he twitches a bit, but you just look at him and think, oh man, that guy's got something going on in his head. I hope he's okay. It's not flashy. It's not wave. Cool. It's not loud. It's just.
The
It's mildly concerning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh,
And of course, anyone who's around the sense Vestigia would pick up a signare of the sound of a clock-like typewriter tapping, the smell of time, and the pervasive sense of loneliness.
As we all run off, and you're left behind to cast the wizards.
Oh, I love it.
Oh yeah, did you didn't
No one's even there.
stopped moving for this one, I assume.
Yes. So
Cool.
Patrick Lewis is staying behind.
Patrick has 1 failure.
Exactly. So you stay where you are for just a moment and cast, but even though you might look a little bit bland, it is a extremely successful attempt. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm basically going to give the mummy a dodge roll here, right, to try and evade the strike that you put out. So, factoring everything in, you got a hard level. So, I think that it would have been appropriate to give a bonus die, given that this mummy has the capacity to sort of detect magic a little bit. But you did very well at your casting roll, and you did the larger sized shield. So, given that, I will maintain the penalty die at the end of everything.
Outstanding.
And we will end up with a final result of, okay, so that is 60, and I'm just going to double check. The mummy stats, not famously quick, generally, mummies. And fortunately, in this case, the mummy takes off down the alleyway, gets about halfway down, and then smacks baldly into something.
Fantastic.
There's like a crunch as they stagger backwards, hit the wall, fumble around on the ground for a second. They will shove themselves forward in just a second, but functionally, they're going to make no progress this turn, continuing to be able to do that. Yep.
It does take 1 damage. I feel bad.
It does
about
take
that.
1 damage. That
If
is
trying to run and force their way through the barrier, ineffective. It's like bouncing off a plate glass window. The person suffers 1 damage.
Okay, perfect. I have registered that. So
I can tell you, well, if the mummy's a practitioner, it would also know that it can try to slowly and deliberately push through the barrier, which means an opposed power roll against me to try to like slowly push through.
that's perfect, but for the time being, it's a little hurt. So while it is reeling, we will jump across to the pursuers. And what we do here is that we basically determine whether you're in a situation where we either have obstacles or a burst of speed. Burst of speed, if this is just a flat, straight up run kind of situation, and in which case we compare moves. Otherwise, it's an obstacle situation. Going down an alley, you are right around, like, I think everything is still too tight and there will be stuff on the floor and you're ducking in between things. So we won't just compare moves here. I will get everybody to make a athletics roll. And this is determined to be either a hard or a regular roll, depending on how good the mummy is at fleeing. It is
and how
bad
good
at
is
fleeing.
that?
Not very good. So please, everyone can go throw me a roll. And the final thing I'll add is that because technically all of the rolls are facing the collection of you and not facing the mummy, the penalty that we would apply to the mummy at this stage will get bounced across all of you. So all of you can take a bonus die on this athletics check. And it seems somewhat needed,
dice.
given the rolls. I was like, wow,
I don't know why I rolled a
mummy's...
D1. That's a 7.
Oh, okay, you're totally fine.
I spend 6.
Okay, a success on Lucy, Pudding and Barton.
Fail.
Fail. Ooh.
With the bonus die, I go from 67, which is 7 over my athletics, to 37, which is 7 over a hard.
Okay.
So I'm good.
Alright, so you are
It is the delightful thing about picking firefighter as my background is I automatically got like athletics as a thing that I needed to pick, and that's where I was like, you know what? Hell yeah, let's lean into just Parkour City, babe.
I love it.
No.
So Pudding and Lucy, the two of you, are absolutely taken off. Barton, you a jogger? No, cardio kills gains. Why would you do it?
Yeah, right?
So you just take off and just really not making much progress, although you are maintaining.
I think
Exercise induced asthma.
as it kicks off, like when the mummy first starts running, Lucy has this little like tail wag and then just takes off after him. So it's like Pudding's giving the little side eye to PC Lewis. So you just hear like barking as she goes round the corner, and then the mummy comes like back around the other side. The wall goes up, slams into it, careens over, and Lucy is just having, bar none, the best time. She's so happy. Although I think to anyone else, particularly the mummy, it does sound like a giant dog bearing down on you, but it's actually like the happy barks of like, how good is this? Guys, check it out. It's running.
Holy time!
It's made of bones.
This is your dream come true. No, that's absolutely fantastic. So we go from our deuce situation to -1 for PC Lewis, and to +1 for Pudding and for Lucy, and a flat. Actually, technically, we don't go to -1 for the, yeah, it's because the there's no progress that's been made here. So we basically
mummy.
Yeah. So technically, what's meant to happen here is that
the mummy had also succeeded and we succeeded. It's just neutral at 0.
Technically, the mummy doesn't roll is the big thing. It's just assumed to be continuing. But what I think PC
we just
Lewis
need to
did,
get to.
Yeah. So
I think like it, because the way it works with ranged attacks as well is like if it does damage, like the mummy can just back out and piss bolt in a different direction. That's fine. It's only if the damage is enough to down them that they're like stopped. So
that's okay. I just wanted to slow it down.
Yeah.
Like essentially it made it easier for us to catch up with it. So we now all have like a bunch of us have a success. That's great.
Which is perfect. Yeah. So okay. So
what I might do from here is instead of starting running again, I've gotten a little way closer, and I might prepare to do if it looks like the mummy is getting through the barrier, I might chuck a Tsundere at it, like an extra good Tsundere just to hold him.
Perfect. Okay, so
if it looks like he's getting through,
that makes total sense. So at the top of the round, then, having fallen, the mummy picks itself back up and looks towards the barrier in front of it. Now it's a shimmering invisible shield at this point, but you would swear, and presumably since you know that this mummy is at least in some way a practitioner, they probably know at least somewhat what's going on. They do not try to run into it again, nor do they try to slowly push through it. Instead, they turn sideways, glancing up and down the alleyway next to them. And there is a small service door leading into a building. You don't really have the time as you're running forward, and Lucy, you don't really have the wherewithal to tell if this is an apartment, maybe an access door for the station, or a restaurant next door. But at any rate, the mummy sprints towards it and careens into it at full speed. And this doorway, not particularly well maintained, seems a little weaker than the barrier that PC Lewis has put up, and the mummy smashes into the side of this building and starts to try and run into the hallway itself. So that is the direction of flight. Everyone, I presume, is still going to be chasing as they were, apart from you, Button, who mentioned that you might be throwing a spell. So we'll get the two of you, Pudding and Lucy, in a second to make your rolls. But first of all, let's talk spellcasting. What's happening from the perspective of everybody else?
Wizard shit.
Yeah, wizard shit. I might try and chuck a Tsundere at him, just to kind of slow him down.
Okay, fantastic. That makes total sense. Just before you do, PC Lewis, you are either... This is your last chance to remain in the chase. You've got an action now. Otherwise, you fall so far behind that you're just looking at the building and you're like, people went inside.
Again, very poor athletics and constitution. And I'm the one in charge. I don't think joining the chase is the place for me. I think I've got to get on the airwave and coordinate any officers nearby.
That makes total sense to me. And I was about to suggest something of the sort. So you dive into the car, grab a hold of the radio and start to yell, trying to organize everybody about. What are you specifically, like, what's your angle here? What are you trying to just make sure that everyone's correctly maintaining a cordon?
Putting out like a I think in America they call it an APB, all points bulletin. I don't know if that's what this is, but it's just like, hey, all the officers in the area, This is Falcon unit chasing suspect going this direction from here to here. It's a very much a Falcon suspect.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, keep
Before
the
you
public
give all the
away.
clarifications of like, being able to give a descriptor of a suspect due to hesitation. It's a Falcon suspect.
Yeah, it's a Falcon suspect. Don't engage directly. Just try to cordon off and keep members of the public away. And yeah, we've got some. We don't even have officers in pursuit. We've got some community liaison people in pursuit.
Perfect. So this
You've
feels
got what is in essence a dog and a fire genasi.
this is something that I would say falls within the scope of a social role to me.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I thought this is engaging on us with other cops, right? It's not.
I was
going to
suggest
into your bonus die, Jackson.
I was going to suggest law because my law skill is in relation
Totally
to
happy
my
with
police
that.
training.
Totally happy with that. I'm always going to suggest common skills to you. At least I will attempt to do that.
Very good.
Unless I brain fart and forget. So if you have an expert skill that you would like to supersede over,
Specifically using my police training, which I think is law. Shall I roll now?
please.
Ooh.
Okay.
0-3.
Good
That
day.
is
We're killing it.
quite good.
You are having a great day. So yeah, absolutely. And this is the kind of circumstance where your reputation as the Falcon unit could cause some kind of issue, but maybe it's just that people are relieved to not hear Nightingale or Peter Grant, yelling something, and it's a new voice, and you do all of the correct call signs and everything, so you do get responses. You are also, I mentioned there are police officers around, immediately joined in with by similar reports that are revealing that there are other officers on scene, so this is an established kind of situation. Great job. I'll factor that in. You yourself can be pretty damn sure that nobody's going to stumble in.
Fantastic.
Let's go across to Barton. You probably are halfway up the alleyway by now, already starting to sweat, wishing that you'd put on your running shoes. You get a proper last glimpse of the mummy as it dives into this building, which is when you have a chance to make a spell. You said you wanted to cast.
Oh, nope. And Cinder and try, and I will pump a magic point into it to bump up the amount that I can hold.
You have mastered Cinderer?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fantastic. In which case, please make a magic roll. You can do so with a bonus die, and give us a taste of your Vestigia as well as you do it.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Not fantastic, but
I did bump a bunch into magic, so I can use luck. So I'm going to put 9 points of luck into it, if I may.
Absolutely. That makes complete sense to me. So you cast as best you can, pumping in a little bit of your supernatural luck here. Obviously, luck being just sort of like supernatural jazz.
I think, yeah. I think it starts. I think the spell starts, and you can see it starting, and then it like chokes and fizzles a bit, and Barton's like, "Oh, come on," and like resets his feet and goes again. And this time it holds with the buzz of a fluorescent light ringing in your ears, and the scent of a strong cup of tea, and the sensation of sheets of paper hanging in the dark.
That is.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Do you think that there's a chance, Jim, that we're just like maybe ever so slightly closer to a ley line that we would be normally, and Button's just like in resetting, like aligns himself a little bit with one of those and is like, luckily,
fantastic.
magic time.
I really like that. I
I'm
really
just
think
a little bit puffed, and I shouldn't have tried to run.
Your like dry paper rustling too is very similar to a mummy. Like it actually has
It's got a
lot
bit of that
crossover, which I enjoy quite a lot.
stuff in the dark.
Yeah, exactly.
That's phenomenal. So with the extra point of magic that you bumped into this, the size of the object that you can hold in place grows to that of an entire person, basically. So I take it that you were trying to just hold back the mummy.
And if I'm running out of time, I'm willing to like pump another point into it.
Okay, no, you are all good. At this stage, it's just It is just a case of you get it through and you cast again. There is sort of a frozen in place for a second. You do this time detect like quite a bit of shock from the mummy, who had previously discounted you completely as just another commoner sort of situation, and now you're casting spells.
Nope.
However, this jumps across to Pudding and to Lucy. It's all a little bit flexible time, so this is all happening in motion. That door that has been knocked through, for the sake of an effective roll here, like it bounces back off its hinges, and in action movie scenes might just be enough to kind of catch you and stumble you for a second. So I think I would ask for a strength roll, I think, based on that, to just barge straight through and make sure that you're not worried by this.
Hold on. Chase rolls, athletics or speed?
Athletics or speed? I believe that you can ask for additional ones as well, but athletics, cool. I'm fine fine with that.
I would prefer athletics to like dodge my way around the door, like as it's swinging. But
I think that makes total sense.
Because I'm not strong, but I'm quick.
Within the scope, I'm fine with that.
I got 60 strength. I'll give it a
You're
whack.
gonna give it a swing?
Strength.
Why not?
I got 60, so.
Okay.
Plus 10.
Ooh, just above. So it just knocks you slightly again. You're through it in a moment, unless you want to burn some luck.
No. I think it goes through. I think Liz tries to leap to I was going to introduce a window here. That sounds like a good way for me to get lacerated. Yeah, I think I just slam head first into it, just bowl through on the other side, legs skidding, scrambling. I'll make my way there in time.
Okay, perfect. You as you righten yourself, though, Pudding is blasting through at a significant rate. You dodge just between two of the times that the door slams backwards, and manage to slide through into the lower floor of... It's probably both the back of a shop and the lower part of some apartment buildings. But it is just a landing at this stage with a couple of doors at the back and to the side and a staircase leading up. There is nobody here at the moment. And it's at this point that you arrive with the mummy. It immediately realizes that it has nowhere to go. A lot of these doors are locked, and you can see that it's a little sort of tired, busted up, or something of the sort, and doesn't necessarily want to dive completely into another unknown area. So you're on this bottom floor landing. All the doors are shut. There's a staircase leading up and another one leading down into what must be a sub area. But the mummy turns and faces you, and the two of you have one round where you're just caught face to face. End the chase here. Everyone else will join within a turn. What are you doing? As you two lock eyes.
I'm gonna just like do the same as I did before, like hands up, kind of like trying to look more like wide-eyed than threatening, and say the only Greek word I know.
Fantastic.
It's kalimera, which is just hello.
Okay, brilliant.
It's not even ancient Greek. It's just regular Greek, but it is a word that I know, and I'm like, it's one of two.
Yep. Now, if
you don't count like Omega and Alpha and that, and I just like to try and see if I can even get the slightest bit of like reconnection, because obviously there was that moment in the tunnels where I was able to be like, hey, we're on your side, but like this one is me actively attempting to be like, I'm trying to communicate, nothing else.
Okay, no, that's perfect. So, obviously, things have been set off on a little bit of a tense foot, and just for the context of the last scenario again, you passed, I believe that specifically Barton, you passed the history roll to get some information about the languages and the details that would be used here. So this mummy probably speaks ancient Greek, was what you were thinking to yourself as you were trying to run past the languages, because that tended to be the spoken languages of a lot of the kind of ruling and priesthood class of Egypt throughout a good chunk of sort of classical history. Standing out in the middle then, I think that this is, again, it's going to be a social role. It's going to be hard, because this is a pretty tense situation.
Do I still get my bonus?
You are absolutely trying to convince somebody here. But sorry, I'll say you get the full bonus. But before you roll, I will say you can see that the mummy is weighing up options at this point, and it's very much scared. You can tell. You feel sympathetic to a certain extent. And
like if this goes wrong and it fully goes for me, like Pudding's reaction will be, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, and you can see,
and then we'll proceed to try and dodge the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, and you can
be like, please don't. I'd like to be your friend. Please don't hit me.
Absolutely, and you can see very much that that's what's going through the mummy's head at this point.
Yep.
So,
which is very fair. Again, Pudding's taking everything with a like, well, yeah, that. You know, this, but yeah.
All right, yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Bad start, but you still got one. Oh.
17.
And that
not so bad.
Not so bad. All right. So you stumble out one word as you go forward, and I personally don't know if the word you said actually has like an ancient Greek correlate, but as you jump,
find out.
Yeah, exactly. As you jump forward, you sort of hold up your hands and you speak, and again you
probably do just kind of go Calimera, Omega. Gamma, maybe? I don't know. We're good. Please don't forget.
It does kind of show that you're trying to communicate at the very least. Like, even if it is just like, those are, like, you're not, it's just words, you know? Like, I think that does still show some intent, which is good.
Absolutely. And hands up is a pretty universal gesture. At this point, Lucy, you come barging through. You have having pursued a lot of people at various points. I mean, this is an activity that you would have been, pretty aware of. I think that you would have the nuance to understand, like, this is like sort of a court moment.
It's court. Yeah. We're back to discussion. Lucy comes around the thing, raring to go, and there is nuts. I think Lucy is standing behind Pudding, tail wagging in like I'll grab it if it tries to bolt, but also keeps on like side-eyeing a little door off towards the edge, which is slightly ajar, and there's just the faint is like, go on.
Yeah.
Go.
I think that you could both read it as like the dog is a little threatening, but also your tail is wagging. You seem like it's in reading of the persuade scene. It's a game.
I'm sorry. Alone against the static. Winner.
Hey, good news for which one? Because it's up for 2.
Alone against the static. Best adventure long form.
Fantastic!
Very
cool.
Congratulations, Brian.
Congratulations, Brian.
Jim, for editing.
Fun stuff.
And Jim, the editor.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Very, very cool to know. So that's a bit of fun, and we've still got more news to come potentially, unless the best writing category has already gone through. But yeah, please let us know any ones that do come through for Chaosium, and thank you for noting.
Hell yeah.
Like I said, really, really, really cool scenario, and yeah, congratulations again. Brian wrote a hell of a thing. So let's.
If you're watching,
Anyway,
you might be,
which you're not.
Yeah. So. With that in mind, I think that Barton, you probably rock up as well, and it's a similar thing in my head. You go, I'm sorry, you've just caught up. Even then, PC Lewis, you're short behind. You can see that there is the mummy is eyeing the two of you now. It seems to be fairly aware that it is covered in bandages, and fairly aware that Pudding and probably both the wizards have the capacity to use fire, and also that you are a dog and it's full of bones, Lucy.
We don't know it's full of bones. They might have removed the bones.
I know it's full of bones.
And there's one way to find out.
Look, Pudding, stay in your lane, all right? I know when something's full of bones.
I have actively tried to make a character that is like the least full of bones that you can be while still being full of bones.
I know you're not full of. I know that these bones. I don't want those bones. I want these bones. All right, I know my bones.
Yeah, they're not. You don't want these bones. These bones not good bones.
These are bad.
Talk about dry aging. And similarly, though, you didn't use eye magic. You used a grab spell and a wall spell. And this all seems to communicate fairly acutely. And you can see the mummy looks through the collection of you, thinks maybe it'll surrender again. You see its eyes flick back towards where the main street was, and it almost flinches for a second. Like, there was a lot happening out there.
We've established I'm not wearing it today. We've established that I have like a coat and stuff that I wear. Can I like take it off and just like offer it to the mummy? Just like hold it out, not go up, just like.
Yep, absolutely. That makes total sense.
Sort of a questioning gaze.
There's a slight hesitation, and then the mummy
I will like put it on the ground and take a couple steps back if it looks like it doesn't want to come close to me.
Put it on the ground, realizes what's happening, comes forward, takes it, kind of wraps it around themselves and puts it over their head a little bit. There is some level of like, you know, they're kind of using it like a shawl more than there's not a really styling thing where they pop the collar and whatever, but it accepts the gesture. Before long, a police officer, and for convenience's sake of characterization, will say that it is the custody sergeant of the nearby station that you were at. So this is Sergeant Finnegan. Not that you need to go to Sergeant Finnegan's station. You talked about how the Folly has extra defenses. Arrives and you hear cordons up. Have you got it?
Yeah, I've got it, but if you could just maybe get a wiggle on. This isn't easy.
Yeah, okay, cool. Come right up. It's a little quieter out on the street now, so we should be able to I'll get someone to back down the alley as close as they can.
As we like walk past, I think Pudding will kind of maybe wait to like go out maybe behind the mummy, because I feel like at this point having me behind them is going to be the least threatening, because I've been the one to like be pretty chill with them. But if we go out past the duty sergeant, I'm just gonna, as we go, tap him on the shoulder and be like, she. It's important to get the pronouns right. I'm pretty sure it's she. It ain't an object.
Oh, registered. Sorry. It's okay. We'll get her into the. If you would, kind of says towards the now slightly coated mummy, and you're able to load up
Just because
into the...
something's different doesn't mean we need to be objectified.
Absolutely.
Objectifying things.
Absolutely. And the Finnegan seems to take that completely in stride. You load up the mummy into the van, as I've now correctly spoken instead of car, and before long you will be able to...
Wait, you're telling me we don't have the Jag? Jim, how could you?
I think that you did really well on the roll to bring back up, I believe, PC Lewis. But at this stage, although the Jag probably makes an appearance, the situation is resolved enough.
Not call for it. We need a van.
Well, I mean, as the thing takes away, you flash forward. You will later. The explanation of Nightingale is that the seats had just been cleaned. And,
putting a mummy in there.
But you probably do get to a moment to sort of have a quiet word, PC Lewis. And as everything's happening, Nightingale will, under his breath, mention, well responded, situations contained. What's next?
Well, sir, I believe I think the suspect's behavior at this point warrants a formal arrest. I should think I have not given the suspect the formal caution yet. We should probably do that before too much longer.
That's at your discretion, Patrick. I will say, though, if you want to go formality, you need to be able to deliver the news in a language fluently spoken. You haven't got an ancient Greek translator around, have you?
No, not yet, sir, unless you happen to be able to do so.
There are books in the library you can use. My conversational Greek is heavily accented. He smiles a little bit. You can tell he's making excuses. He leans in a bit and says,
Yeah, I know what's going on. He's trying. He's getting me to put my big boy boots on.
You're doing well. It's all right. Just Don't let the formality of things blind you to what needs to be done. Everything's gone well.
Good.
But there's still more to find out.
Good. That's what we'll do, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very good. He'll take his leave and nod at the collection of you. All of you, as I said, have had some level of training and conversation with Nightingale, apart from Lucy. Although, you know, he's nice enough human. Doesn't... exactly. But there's definitely an element of... even yourself, Barton, as a practitioner, are kept a little bit at arm's length. There's a formality about Nightingale. Not quite as far as Patrick Lewis's, but it's there. My understanding, based on what you said, Jackson, is that you want to get the mummy back to the Folly rather than going to...
Yes. Okay. The Folly's custody suite with its anti-magic field.
All right, fantastic. So all four of you then, with your new companion, end up in one of the cars and head across. It is a relatively comfortable trip at this point. The situation has been resolved without too much disaster. Too much disaster. It went fine. You had someone try to run, but got cordoned up, called it in completely within the scope. Not even much extra paperwork that needs to be done. It's just a tick box on the forms that are already being submitted. So... You're feeling like done and clear about that. There'll be the requisite paperwork you have to do at the end, but for the time being, you can focus on what's at hand. And the mummy seems relatively calm. She is trapped in this strange, like, personal hell, you notice a bit, because she doesn't really know what's going on. She but trusts the collection of you, gets in, and then is looking out the windows of the car. I'm projecting one of those. I don't actually know how the English government uses, like, so the kind of like police vans and things like that. But basically, there's a second backseat area, which with a grill up.
Imagine so, something like that, right?
And she's sort of looking out some of the windows. She can see through to the front, spotting a lot of things that are unrecognized, and going, "I'm just going to put a coat over my head," and then you can tell that she's probably starting to feel car sick. And oh no, they're starting to have to decide between the two. No stomach, but it's still effective.
This mummy was shipped over from Egypt and had the worst time on the boat.
Exactly.
Can I be in the back with the mummy?
Sure.
Like, just nattering about everything that we're going past. So you know, that update. So I don't know if you had electricity when you were originally alive, but that's a relatively new thing, and it allows us to have light wherever we want. And this thing over here, like, that's a bus. Again, I suppose it'd be kind of like a chariot, except bigger and with more wheels, and not horse-driven. But, you know, similar thing. And, like, it's just a constant stream of light nattering to sort of give it something to focus on and give it that, like, even though I don't understand what's happening, clearly there is someone who is, like, trying to help, like point. I'm clearly pointing stuff out. So, like,
it totally comes through. You're being nice. You're being respectful. I'll ask you to make a read person check just because you are there speaking. It's possible that you get a little.
Do not read people. Just take them on face value. If she looks sick and scared, then that's what I'm going to assume. And I don't. I guess, like, for pudding, it doesn't matter whether I'm having an effect or not.
Oh, I totally
because I do
get
it
you.
anyway. I'll still roll for sure. I'm just saying. I don't have good read person for the reasons I just stated.
You get by.
Well, no, that is a success.
No, you get by on a baseline of kindness, and sometimes it works.
Exactly.
Yeah, sometimes I do. In fact, I'm like, oh, you're easier to read than most people.
Yeah, well,
and you're dead. Cool.
Something about the drawn face on the front of the mummy bandages. So absolutely, you talk and you're just being calming, and you think it is at least helping somewhat. And the read person, all that really happens is that you manage to infer a little bit, so you really can see that the mummy does look completely surprised by nigh on everything they see. Doesn't seem like they've had a lot of exposure to the rest of the world, and you also can tell that they just have no idea what's being said to them. So complete lack of any linguistic crossover.
Just in case, out of an abundance of caution, and so that I can say it's been done, once we're on the car, I'm going to have to tell Mummy, at this time, I'm arresting you on suspicion of behavior which is likely to cause alarm or distress contrary to Section 5 of the Public Order Act 1986. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. And then I lean back and let Pudding continue to natter.
Now come on, Petey. I think it seems to me that she might be more of a victim than perpetrator here.
Yeah, I think like I'll be nattering, then just turn around like mid-sentence to join this other conversation, just to be like, also, the behavior you're talking about is just her existence. Like, people are just distressed because she exists, and that's not really her fault. So, like, it's not really behavior as much as it's just existence. Just, just food for thought. Back to talking to the mummy again immediately.
Well, that's why she's not arrested under Section 4A of the Public Order Act 1986, which provides for intentional harassment, alarm, or defence. Section 5 provides for unintentional harassment, alarm, or distress, as long as it's reasonably known to her that there was likely to be a person within sight or hearing who was likely to be caused her. Look, we'll just sort it out when we get there, won't we?
Right. Yeah, because I'm sitting there like me, Art is like, wait, so if someone's existence could create distress for someone else because that person's an asshole, the cops can just come and be like, well, you're creating a disturbance because of who you physically are and cannot help? Cool.
Yes.
We're going to arrest you.
Probably part of the reason that the mummy's
loitering laws
a little, is feeling a little calmer is because you are there and are appearing to be very much on her side.
Lucy takes advantage of this brief conversation to slink into the shotgun seat. So then, as we're then driving off, whenever the mummy looks up, she sees Lucy's face pressed up against the glass, looking backwards above the seat.
Package.
I absolutely love it.
Is it a grill? Is it
is
it a grill or glass?
But doing like the husky thing with like the way the huskies press themselves into the grill, like into the sides
fogging
of their
it
kennel.
up, and then not really realizing how to make it less foggy and just getting more foggy.
Because if it is a grill, I'm fully gonna start feeding Lucy jerky through the grill. That's like, so if it's glass, I can't do that. If it's a grill, I can.
And with already indoctrinated into your strange group, the mummy sits by until eventually you arrive at the Folly, and you can go park the car and get in. So you've given forward the alert, and people know to be ready. The custody suite has been prepared, and you exit the car and start to head towards the central area. The mummy is feeling a little bit calmer because the Folly is just a bit quieter here, and with the context of things being
is it an older building?
It's a quite old building.
It's a Regency era building.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
And
still miles too modern for the poor thing, but
it's still very much so. But there wasn't there like a Egyptian revival in terms of architecture during the Regency era? There's probably at least one column that looks nice.
Lava.
My brain just immediately went to Cheesecake Factory for some reason.
Huh. Well, why not? But something happens then as you're heading towards the sort of main doors after having set aside from the garage area, and talking. You'll get to the custody suite. You'll have to get a thing, and then all of a sudden, like a plug being pulled out, the mummy collapses. Mid-walk, just bonk, and lands on the ground with a heavy splat.
I'm gonna try and I would like to try and catch her. I don't want to.
Lucy was right nearby on like bone monitoring duty the whole time. I think if in an attempt to show good faith as well, she will slide forward and take the fall. So it like, just like try and.
No,
I think I'm right by her pretty constantly.
I would ask for a roll, but I think between both of you helping and also like the penalty might be a little bit of damage, and I know you're armored and stuff like that. Your skills and talents mean that the two of you dart forward and you catch the mummy, saving it from damage before it falls.
I'm big.
Yep. There is no movement, not like the slightest struggle or anything like that. Up this close, you can see quite a few like signs of where, it smashed headlong into a wall, it fell on the ground, it was been walking a lot, and there's some damage to the feet. But the mummy is just completely limp. You suddenly are holding a completely inert artifact, and an old one at that.
I will probably look to turn around and start going back the way we came to get her back across the threshold unless anyone stops me.
Sorry, is it when we came into the Folly or when we came into the...
The garage, I believe, of the Folly is technically attached to Peter's sort of... It's on the edge where the defenses are not.
Below the tech cave, yeah.
Exactly. So your question is correct. Upon hitting the... Actually, that's a good point.
Or is it when we came into the anti-magic field in the basement?
Good question. So here, why don't I get instead of
roll a magic roll to understand?
Yeah, why don't you roll a magic? That's actually a great idea. Why don't you roll a magic roll, PC Lewis? You have
better had
information.
One might.
17, perfect. Half success.
Okay, so you would, and I'll just throw directly to Jackson here rather than me ranting all the time. I would say this, in your estimation, appears to be the effects of Foxglove and not the effect of the standard defenses. I'll let you parrot that to the as you in character, probably explaining going through to the rest of the team.
So that would have been when we got to the basement and went into the anti-magic cells.
You've got just nominally close at this stage because Foxglove is in situ, I believe, at this point.
Yeah. But it only affects the area in the basement, doesn't it?
I thought there was a slight there is a training aura, but yes, the point is.
I seem to recall they built like the anti-magic cells close to Foxglove, but then they also have like regular cells, regular like suites. But Foxglove doesn't like affect the whole Folly. I thought it was just those cells they built next to
so
it.
The kid that's a something a square we can
this
circle or a circle.
This is riveting
we can
that the audience
later.
Does not want to hear about.
It is a Foxglove related effect. So whether it is you hit the basement cells themselves or you've just got through the threshold, yeah.
Excellent. All right. Yes. Okay. It seems that the anti-magic field, which is present in the Folly's basement, may have affected her faculties. We can move her to another suite, which shouldn't be affected.
Upstairs, maybe? Further from the...
I'm going to have a look at the map. There is
the other basement
great big map of the Folly.
Fine. So we'll continue.
That's my
with that
understanding.
So moving through then, you are definitely able to find a secure location to be able to place the mummy, and it's not a instant thing. You don't just walk them into the out of range and they suddenly are back too. But placing them down, you decide to use the table inside the interrogation room, custody suite, whatever the correct term is. After a couple of minutes, you see movement, and then, as if waking from sleep, the mummy kind of moves, stretches, pats at their face where they ran into a wall, gets up, sees where they are, and I assume you've done your best to make them feel invited, and she's pretty happy about that. Yeah. You have a moment to talk before going into a full conversation with her, get supplies and things like that. It's now over sort of to the four of you. What's your approach here? What's next? You also have the option of going and trying to get more information from the scene. You've got the photographs that you can continue to look through.
Mine will have developed by now, so I'm probably just going to give those a glance.
For sure.
First point of call. The first requirement, I suppose, for an interview would be to find a translator, but that may be difficult at this hour. That may have to wait until the morning.
Well, yeah, and I'm suspicious of the other things that we encountered down there, are we sure she's from that period, or is she? My concern is that a practitioner has made a mummy in an attempt to do some dark magic or whatever.
Could you just remind us,
do we want to
Jim?
show her pictures of different eras and see what?
I was gonna say if there are books in the Folly to help translate old texts a la Latin or ancient Greek, grabbing a bunch of those, like, here's how to learn these languages, help texts, and just putting them in front of her and flipping through pages and pointing at, like, text.
Yeah, Rosetta
and being
Stone
like,
shit.
and essentially be like, can you read this?
Yep.
Because if at some point there is recognition, we're like, great, well, if it's ancient Greek, dope. We can work with that.
Right,
if it's
just
modern
make
Greek,
sure.
different thing. If it's Latin, amazing. But she should hopefully at least be able to that it
At least
implies
we'll
that she knows
find
how to
out.
read.
All great ideas.
But she's literally got bandages across her face, right? Like, do we unbandage her?
Well, she seems to be able to look at things because she was looking at stuff outside and getting freaked out about stuff. So maybe some kind of occult vision going on.
She's quite done up. You are absolutely right. She does have bandages around her face. The reading of stuff is a fantastic idea. You can kind of go about this a lot of ways, and there's a bit to figure out.
How are her opposable thumbs?
Hands are actually not bound. I mentioned that it was a little pen and paper. Great idea.
I will demonstrate how the pen works just in case.
Pencil and paper.
Very quickly, PC Lewis, I'll get you to. You had a question. The one thing I'll add just really briefly is that you have a in case of emergency button, right? And that is when you are ready to when you think you're either out of your depth or you're ready to hand over, you would know to talk to Dr. Sams. At this point, this is a character who works with the Folly. And I'm so terrible at pronouncing any name at this point because I've just read it. But named WYLLA, Walla, I believe.
Walla, yeah.
A forensic expert who you would be able to and attach sort of like scientist basically. This is somebody who would be able to, for example, not just from a medical perspective, but also from an archaeological perspective, interact with the mummies safely. That said, that you sort out as much as you can, then get in contact with them.
Sure. That's a good call. I also like the suggestion to find out what languages she possibly knows before we contact a translator of some kind. Yes, well, it really doesn't. It's as long as she's contained, it doesn't seem like an emergency to wake up anyone. If you'd like to continue working with her, Pudding, that could be useful. In the meantime, I wonder if it's worth checking in with Sergeant Kumar to see how the investigation, the crime scene setup, is going with that body we found.
That's a great idea. So let me get.
Did we get some confirmation from last session that the body was very possibly the ghost that we saw, like the clothing kind of matched, or am I making that up?
Yeah, we got a photo taken of that.
And I projected out a little bit there, but this is kind of stuff that Barton will be able to determine going through the photos now, assuming that he wants to do that. Let me get a rough intention from everybody at this stage. Pudding, you're going to be working with the mummy.
I like the idea of the pen and paper, or the pencil and paper, but then also like potentially getting some reference books as well from the library to kind of stuff. Because if by some wild coincidence there is a phrase in like a language that is then translated into English underneath, because that's a lot of like, here is an example phrase, then there's a very small chance that like I can be like, oh, this means this thing.
Yeah.
Great. We have like a very basic way of potentially doing some, like, I can communicate by pointing at words.
100%.
Yeah, we can Rosetta Stone it.
A literal Rosetta Stone. That makes total sense. You can do, and in terms of incidental things, if it's just like quickly check in with Kumai, that's welcome to. You can still speak with the mummy as well and have that done. PC Lewis and Barton, what are the two of you? What's your sort of major objectives over the next? And to talk about time, it's probably by the time you kick into all of this, it is probably about 2 a.m.
I'm gonna have a look at the photos and see if there's anything of note in the photos I've taken.
Crime scene analysis. That makes total sense.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Anything that looks weird or anything that looks like. Basically, at this point, my suspicion is that this mummy may have been put here by somebody with nefarious purposes. So I'm looking for evidence of somebody else's presence, or that she hasn't just wandered down here from the museum, or that she has and concerns are unfounded.
That's perfect. So I'll get you to make an observation check, and we'll just that'll be kind of your main activity as you're here.
And while we're on all of that, it looks like Cat Clay won silver any for her Cthulhu Regency scenario, The Well of Fear.
Congratulations, Cat.
Silver any and Best Adventure short form and Best Community Content. That's short form. She got it in, yep. So
perfect.
Best Adventure short form, silver any, and Brian's got the silver any for Best Adventure long form for Alone Against the Static.
Fantastic. That's so great.
I don't know about any others yet, but
hell yeah.
So we're 2 silver ennies in for the Chaosium crew.
It's through.
Yeah.
That's
bravo.
Couldn't have gone to more deserving folks if you haven't checked out Alone Against the Static, or what's the Regency one called, Alex, from Cat?
Well of Fear.
Well of Fear. You should. They're great.
Well,
Alone Against the Static, you can play solo, should you so desire, and it has a couple of different endings. And Well of Fear, just go check it out. Go support. Just go support people.
Award-winning. Just check out those award-winning adventures.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Hell yeah. And that is a pass on my observation. That's a success.
Okay, brilliant. Observation success. PC Lewis, what's the plan?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess check in with Sergeant Kumar first, and then
the basics are all in place. The scene is being set up. They
More
only
news
get
soon.
some information because they have to reopen everything and restore power at 5. And
then I don't know. I guess we were on the night shift, so I can't just go to bed and wake up early rested. Like we're still on the shift.
Oh yeah, after I've looked at the photos, I would definitely fall asleep in an armchair dad style.
With the menu.
Have I learned anything more that I can research in the library?
The default here might be you can probably pick something from the conversation that you have if you're not going to be there for the entire time, something that sets you off in the right direction.
Come again?
So when basically there might be, because Pudding's conversation with this mummy is going to take a while. It's probably going to be several hours.
Gotcha.
There might be something where you're able to check in consistently and see how things are
That's
going.
what I'll do. Yeah,
and that's something that can set you off there.
Pudding is so personable. I think they're going to do the best job of actually talking, but I can just be there and take notes and, find out what languages she speaks so that at least, and then I can start looking up the contacts of translators we can get in so that, they're ready to go. I can call them first thing in the morning.
For sure.
That's what I'll do.
For sure. And Barton, same thing. So it's sort of like assume that although this is a long-term, basically Pudding enables this conversation, but for the sake of and it's a long period, for the sake of kind of the role-playing, you can all be involved in this. And the idea is that it's over several hours as the collection of you go back and forth. Lucy.
Bedtime? I'm glad PC Lewis mentioned that you can't go to sleep because I very much can.
Yep.
I think Lucy's chief in charge of maintaining the vibes. So once she gets in, as soon as everything's de-escalated, she just goes and flattens down, then rolls over into the door to fall asleep in the way. What I'm hoping is kind of keep a general de-escalation, things are chill. The mummy sees the dog doesn't seem to care either. And I understand dogs and alert and all of those business. I'm also in front of the door. So anyone coming in has to do that full push the dog out of the way.
Yep.
Just in case anyone wants to make a little bolt for it, I'm in the most obvious exit path. And I am just zoning out. I'm having a little I'm probably I actually am in the conversation, but I'm having a little huff and occasionally a dream kicks in as I'm still chasing the mummy.
That makes total sense. And your presence definitely does appear to be a comfort. As I mentioned, it does appear that this mummy, she seems to enjoy animals, basically. So, great idea with the books and with the pen and paper. That is absolutely correct. Barton will talk about the result of your observation check in just a little bit, and PC Lewis, when we think about something that you want to research, you can let me know. But the overview is this. Coming through, you start to put tomes down, and they're tomes. It's the, Latin to English dictionary. But as soon as you get anything that has text on it, there is a visible excitement. You immediately realize that this mummy can tell what a book is. When you get the paper and the pen/pencil down and show how it's used, that excitement increases tenfold. Immediately, the mummy slides out her hands and goes to try and, take politely the tools from you, and scratches some symbols, draws like a long line, and yet suddenly, communication. There are whiteboards in these rooms, and before long, you'll find yourself in a situation where there's like scratchings with paper and all kinds of drawings. And even better, obviously the history of ancient Egypt is spectacularly long. The ancient Egyptians studied ancient Egypt, as I think we mentioned in one of the previous sessions. But you are able to, with the help of the books and with the help of communication, determine the basic details, and this is a period where you have some connection of knowledge and some decoding of language. Barton, I'm going to ask you to make a history check, considering you opened it, because this is just, obviously you're all able to get something, but this is how much extra you're able to pull out of that.
Ooh, I'm gonna spend 1 luck on that.
1 luck? Well spent.
Yeah.
Okay, so after a great deal of conversation and back and forth, you learn the following. First of all, this mummy is called Mary, which you may have heard me slip up and almost say earlier. Specifically, Mary Meshet, or Meshet. I'm not sure quite how you pronounce that.
Okay.
She is... Possibly.
I don't know how is it spelled.
Spelled. Sorry, I thought you just did an odd pronunciation of. I was like, okay, I don't know how the pronunciation is spelled. MERY hyphen MESHET.
So it's not Mary, as it's also
Mary
Meshet or anything.
Yeah.
It's gotcha.
Yeah. She is a priestess. Specifically, and this is once you start getting through, there's a lot of symbology and details over the Egyptian gods. A priestess of Sobek Ra and Hathor, I believe is the pronunciation. Again, let me get the exact spelling.
I recognize Ra in that.
Yeah. So
Sobek, Ra, and Hathor's is Hathor the crocodile guy?
Yeah.
That was
Sobek.
That was Sobek.
Sobek is the crocodile.
Sobek, as in, sorry, that was
commas.
Sobek Ra and not Sobek Ra, one word.
So there it is hyphenated. Sobek hyphen Ra. At which point I will ask for, does anyone have a cult?
Cool.
So rather, sorry.
Did I try for an
I think
occult?
you tried to open it, but it didn't succeed this time.
Can I try
This
again?
would be a new situation. You absolutely can
Yeah.
try. You've got a lot of luck to
Miracle.
spend.
Get it?
Yes! Yuri! You know what?
You have to
Sure,
spend 10 points of luck to attempt the roll. Then you make a hard check using the appropriate skill, which would be your intelligence.
That's so rude.
Terrible. Unfortunately, I think maybe it's just the fact that you have been so... You'll get plenty of ample opportunity to try again, so don't stress too much. But maybe it's just a case of you've been exposed by osmosis to so much, like, occult detail that it's not even... you don't really understand it as a separate topic necessarily. It's just imbued knowledge in some sense.
I could luck that to a success, but then I would lack the necessary luck to confirm it. Which is very
terrible.
annoying. At least I think because it has to be a hard.
That.
So I would need to spend 61 points, which would put me at 9 luck. So I wouldn't be able to spend the 10 to confirm.
Yeah, it might be a little excessive. 1 point off. Just.
That's okay.
All right. Well, pretty damn close, all the same. At any rate, So
I'll just have to go do some manual research later, which is not one of my specialties. FYI, if you have a dog, putting its board real easy.
Exactly. Possibly this is something that PC Lewis might decide to go into, but there's also going to be other notes. So you decide what you want to spend your time doing. So Sobek Ra, roughly the crocodile god, and Hathor, a lady cow god. Loosely, the idea of like Sobek Ra has a lot of roles and is just pretty important. And Hathor, same thing, but seems to be sort of like nurturing and protective. It seems to be the sort of the rough vibe. From a historical perspective, you figure out that she was from the era roughly 303 to 203, or the Ptolemaic era of ancient Egypt, which gives you all of the insight you need to know in terms of linguistics and stuff like that. And that's, on the scale of ancient Egypt, recent enough that you were able to go through and get quite a bit of.
Sorry, when you say 303 to 203, you mean 303 to 203 BC.
Yes, I'm so sorry. That's why I went the odd direction.
Yeah. No, just
yes.
confirming that you weren't because obviously ancient Egypt is from 4000 BC or whatever, possibly, if I can't remember off the top of my head, to very quite recently, technically now over 2024 years ago, but
Well,
but
yes.
Speaking Greek, it would be after Alexander the Great, which was about 1,500 thereabouts, I guess.
Yeah, I'm afraid Alexander dates I'm really, really bad at, but this specifically is this is before a lot of the major association with Egypt is still a little more isolated in this era, basically.
You will be glad to know
when she was alive and practicing priesthood.
Yeah, she was specifically. She had a title. I'm just trying to. She manages to get a word out which you can translate called rekhet or something like that. Rekhet. This translates roughly to one who knows, and she makes a lot of indications of the kind of wear light. The same gesture.
Oh, she was like a wizard.
You would get the vibe practitioner of some sort, or priestess. You're not. It's hard to say, but yeah, you've felt the vestigia, for a second, basically, inside the underground.
So just like book lore sort of things. Is that like a big deal? Because this is called Newtonian magic, right? So presumably Newton and thereabouts is when they started figuring out how to do it. Is this like, whoa, they had this magic way back then too? Is that a big deal?
PC Lewis, do you want to take that one, or shall I dump lore?
I was just correcting. I was way off with Alexander the Great. Conquered Egypt in 332, established the Hellenistic kingdom in 305.
Thought it was a bit after, but didn't want to.
We're looking at 300
to
200
in 2006, so you can put that on the scale as well.
Exactly.
David went to Egypt.
What was the question?
Newtonian magic. Let me do it then, just because otherwise we'll have to go through it.
Please.
So, this school of magic and the magic of the Folly and the magic of all of the collection of you, at least to some degree, is Newtonian magic. It is a very not yourself pudding. That's true. Newtonian magic.
Decidedly cannot do that. For me.
It is very strict, very controlled, very practiced. It came out of Newton's work and has been shaped since. Now, obviously, it links back to an older heritage of magic, and there has been magic for a long time, and because a lot of the knowledge has been lost, it is debated exactly how far back it goes and how powerful people were. But it is a commonly accepted truth that people have had magic, and also in the modern day, there are different magical traditions. Across the course of the series, people find the extent to which magic is present in other parts of the world. And it is, this appears to be a period of global renaissance at the minute, is just sort of the kind of loose setting, but yes.
And so because there's the lore, as I understand it, there's not a lot of practitioners. It's a whole thing that's not like wizards. The fact that she can or could do magic is a quite big like high importance to the Folly, right? Like this would be like, well, let's study, let's figure out how you're doing,
and
so
the fact
we can
that
figure out
she
how to do it.
has some like recognitions, but probably a different system of magic underpinning how she thinks. Yeah, this is a pretty big deal. Pretty useful point.
She's not going back in the sewer.
Yeah, that might
she lives here now.
Not be so great.
If I can make one clarification, what you said, Dave, nerding out a bit. What's really interesting, I think, is it's not so much that there's no practitioners, it's all of the British practitioners died. And Nightingale was pretty much the only one left after the war.
Yeah.
And there's probably still practitioners in other places, but because it was just Nightingale, like he's not a whole diplomatic department on his own. He can't like keep up relationships and hear about what's going on in other parts of the world. So it's more that like we just don't know. What magic is going on in parts of the world, but we should meet them and find out. Now, that's what's fun.
The flip side to that is that this is the answer of Newtonian magic, which is its own formalized system. And Barton, has demonstrated in his existence that you can get a hold of magic and do stuff outside it. And the Folly is aware of other magical traditions, even just within the UK, that emerge, even just within London that emerge, people kind of learning in parallel or approaching it from a different perspective.
Something went wibbly and magic got big again, right?
And that is a setting level mystery that
it seems to have been ramping up over the last 60 years for reasons unknown.
Mary had what appeared to have been a practitioner when she was alive. She confirms that she died. And she can sort of like kind of reports, I got sick. Makes the symbol of like death and passing and things like that, and then woke up. You find it a bit more difficult, although with your history check button, this is where you start to piece together the more modern aspect based on Olmec artifacts and mummies being brought, information specifically. You reckon that she was probably brought over by an archaeologist called Henry Salt, who did a lot of that sort of like period of movement, and she gives you a specific area. Her burial site was in Luxor, and therefore kind of a lot of the artifacts would have probably been passed across to the British Museum. And that would have been sometime in the early 1800s, probably the 1820s or something like that. As to specifically what happened then, not much information apart from Mary describing that she woke up inside the train station and then went back to sleep and then woke up again and then slept and woke up. This is sort of what she manages to get across, and this is where the language starts to break down a bit. Final thing, I will ask. I might ask you, Pudding, here to make a social test to see just how much you're able to extricate here based on your work, if that's all right.
Sure. Throughout this process, there are many cups of tea. One is put in front of Mary. Not necessarily for her to drink, I don't know if she can, but just to hold because it's warm. If we do at some point come across words for things like food or water or drink, I might like make a point of pointing on them and looking at her to be like, can you eat? Like trying to communicate like food ?
She would touch towards her face, which is still bandaged up and dressed, and indicate no.
I think at that, like, I would probably also like go to belly. Like, it's not necessarily can you, it's are you hungry?
She reports not being hungry, but she does not believe she can eat, nor is it just a case of bandages, because you'll find out, according to the burial processes, her jaw is actually wired shut. So it's a full like mummy preparation ritual. It's not just a case of sort of undoing it, which is why you'd need an expert to be able to sort of I
feel like if it's not, I have no idea if she's like comfortable in this state, but if she is and she's happy to communicate via writing, then I feel like just let it, like if she's fine as she is, great.
She seems pretty happy. That's That seems fine.
That's an important thing. Why do I keep going to the wrong screen? All right, social check. Well, I mean, that's not a success.
That's okay.
Do I get my bonus or not?
Not really. You're not convincing somebody of someone here. This is just how much you might have been able to pull out. So that's okay. The one thing that you will get with minimal detail then at this stage is that she asks at several points about the others.
What?
Others have woken up.
Right.
So she's asking, am I able to like, with this rudimentary system, do I understand her question to be more, are there others that have woken up? Or is it more, where are the others that have woken up?
Declarative statement. There are others.
Oh.
Where are the
Right.
others? She knows there's others.
Huh.
I think if there is a punctuation that we have found to communicate questions to each other or something specific, because I think the most important part is not just like words, but also like when I am saying a word as a declarative and when I'm saying a word as a question. And a lot of that is obviously like body language, but hard for her to do. So I think like if we can have established some sort of mark, whether it is the question mark or whatever.
You've got this conversation flowing pretty well at this stage. That's yeah.
I think I will like respond with whatever I can to indicate not only like to indicate we don't know, but not just we don't know where, but we don't know others.
Okay.
So like to really kind of be completely upfront and just be like, you're like, not that you are alone and want to try and avoid that, but like to go, did not know.
I registered. So by the
did not.
By the time dawn starts to roll around, right, and you're getting close to when Kumar is going to be shutting off everything, you will have basically left the conversation roughly there with the final caveat that the central point she would like to make now is find others. You know, like that's what she wants to do, and that's what, if you want to help, you need to find the others, kind of thing.
So, question, which is based on this question she's asked.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get the sense that her waking up was an expectation? She's not surprised by the fact she woke up.
No, she does seem surprised. Sorry.
Okay.
I woke up. Don't know why I woke up, kind of thing.
Okay, so.
And that's probably just genuinely a shrug or something like
Yeah.
Something with
so
that.
then like, but she's asking about others that she knows would have woken up, or just that there are other mummies. Like other coffins, other.
And this is where, based on the failure of the soul,
like a
that makes sense.
Of like she feels some sort of connection or something.
Yeah, she is aware of an others, whatever an others is,
that's
and needs to find them.
And the other thing I think, if I can get across or question, and if I can't get because of the fail, that's fine. But I feel like if I can go like here or home for you, like Egypt, like are you like if like here or not here?
It's
essentially
it's a little bit like it's a little bit like, because here could mean, do you mean like literally where you are now, back at the station? What's the situation?
I mean, if I need to get like a map of the world out and kind of do the whole like we are here.
Because immediately, what's all of these giant circles?
Why is it in a globe?
London.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the expectation is there are others here, or she's asking about others close to
She can
home.
feel the presence of others nearby.
Great, cool.
I
mean, I'm gonna definitely. I'm Pudding's on board. Pudding's like, yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Art less so, but Pudding in this case.
Yeah.
Reed is just like, yeah, sure. You want help? You seem nice. We'll help.
Perfect. So that leads us across to Barton and PC Lewis coming in and out of this conversation throughout. So Barton, we know what you're going to do. You've got your observation roll, which you've already succeeded. PC Lewis, on the other hand, you've kind of heard all of the bits and pieces that are coming up as a result of these conversations. What are you going to proceed with?
Yeah. I think based on the fact this conversation took all night, we need like an actual kind of ancient Greek translator so we can get these kind of complex, questions and answers going back and forth. So looking up, who the best person to bring in for that is.
Yep.
Because odds are, I don't know, there must be someone who is aware of the following activities who can also translate ancient Greek. There must be some like stuffy old academics.
Oh yeah, you
I'm thinking of that one character in the books.
Oh my god, I've now whose name starts with P, but I have just forgotten
archivist.
It as well. Yes. Dr. Sams is probably who you would go to.
That's what you said.
Has the capacity to speak ancient Greek, so that like genuinely is
excellent.
They have a skill of 60 in it, so and also
excellent.
a skill of hieroglyphics at 70, and a skill of hieratic at 60, which I just presume is a subtype.
And what is that?
But once that's lined up, I'm hearing about others, so I'm thinking about. Yeah, I mean, that's probably a trip to the British Museum. That's where she's come from. And we're probably going to need their records to figure out when she came in and with whom.
Sewers or whatever, the tunnels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes total
Maybe
sense.
I'll see if the Folly Library's got anything about the British Museum around that time, but otherwise.
Does she say that she woke up, like, does she indicate where she, like, that she woke up
in the station?
The station. Oh yeah, sorry, you said that in the station. So she didn't wake up in the museum. She woke up in the station.
In the station.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. See, this is what's fueling my suspicions.
So you can absolutely. You're right that going to visit the British Museum is going to give you access to better details. But you can for sure do a preliminary research blast into. So I like. If you could condense this into a Google search input for me, I'm kidding. But what? Because you could be looking up anything from Henry Salt archaeological. What was his work? British Museum Egyptology. Give me the full history of this. What's on? How much they have? Others. What could that be? What do we know about ancient Egyptian magic in general? What about those gods? Do we want to look into that? What the hell is keeping this mummy alive?
That's true.
Do you want to try and detailed sense the vestigia even more? See if you can track anything from that.
That's a good point. All right, so I think maybe less about the circumstance in which she arrives, because the museum's going to have that. More, the Folly must have been like caught up in the big kind of Egyptology craze, so they must have some notes about ancient Egyptian magic around the time when these mummies were being hauled out and brought over.
Sure.
So yeah, what do the Folly know about? What was the Folly thinking about during the Egyptology craze when these mummies were being brought over? Were they interested in that kind of magic and all that stuff?
Most certainly. I'll get you to make a research roll then.
I shall. I've just put all of my rolls into Roll20 macros, and now I cannot find them.
Oh no!
Terrible. I think I missed research. I think I just didn't do that one. That's fine. Roll 1d100. 60, which is bang on.
Bang on. Okay, so
success.
a regular level of success. Brilliant. We'll start with Barton quickly. Back upstairs with at a desk in one of the working rooms. You go through everything that you can from the photographs. Sorry, you just really got the one key one.
I just got the one.
I think you technically did get another one out on the main station, but between that and between also this is kind of you writing up notes and thinking through and analyzing what was discovered and this is where you make the connection about the body and looking through. Yeah, you were pretty sure that the clothes match stylistically and temporally as in roughly the 1930s, the time that Eileen appeared to have been missing. So it's probably Eileen's body if you had to make a guess. You also know that the unlucky mummy myth kind of
I know
came out in the 1930s around two people going missing.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a link to that, but based on the information you're getting here, that it could still be a myth or it might just be unrelated.
Yeah.
Next thing you get is this. The station from your photographs appears to be extremely undisturbed. The photo that you took of sort of the general environment around the that sort of rear area where you communicated with the mummy itself has like you can see thick layers of like good greasy dust, the kind that only accumulates when nobody is passing through an area. There's piles of little like bits of soot and sediment and rock that have been shaken loose over decades of movement from above, or from overhead onto the ground. And there's basically a fine layer that would leave footprints. Exploring down there claustrophobically, unless you're an experienced tracker, you wouldn't notice it. But in the cold light of day, staring at your pictures, you can. And all that you see are the prints of the mummy down there, because it really does like quite distinctive. You would, if you had to guess, you would say that this station, since its abandonment, and you had a rough history of it, you know, it was used quite extensively as like a military support office, as a bomb shelter, as a storeroom. After its gradual abandonment, it's been left. Nobody's been going back there. And, you know, either she's been waking up and going back to sleep for years or something, or yeah, it's hard to say. What you don't think is that somebody has been making regular trips down there in the last couple of months. So if you do have a fear of a necromancer or a practitioner or whatever, it
is recent, yeah.
Now I do.
Isn't recent, or they are not necessarily in situ. I mean, work from home is spreading throughout other industries. There's no reason why it couldn't be.
Long distance necromancy. I don't know about that one.
Yeah. It's kind of at least 2 days in the office sort of thing. So that's basically your rough shape from that. As to PC Lewis, looking into the kind of history of the whole thing and what the Folly knows about the Egyptology craze. Oh, you're absolutely right. This is very much up the Folly's alley. Also something that, from what you understand, and you probably do lean on Nightingale as a resource a little bit here, it was embraced and then rejected because a lot of that was just myth and hype, and there was so much snake oil being sold then that, you know, people, the Folly was trying to get in, like, that period had a little bit of, our magic is better than everybody else's. And everybody who was interested in magic would invariably get sold stuff that wasn't magical and, you know, pay huge prices. It was not a particularly...
and of course, they weren't really trying to engage with the Demimonde in any kind of meaningful way as equals. So
exactly. It was not a particularly culturally sensitive time. That said, what you do find is that, like, you know, in the most stuffy kind of Britishest way, is that some of the tucked away amongst some of the archives is a note that the only sort of thing worth coming through, because that's worth looking into, because everything else is either irrelevant or you know, not worth the interest of the Folly, is that several expertly made magical artifacts are occasionally making their way across, and these are prized enchantments that would make even the Sons of Wayland, you know, which is the sort of enchanting wing, a slightly different branch but connected to the Folly, you know, envious of the trade skills, and there's stuff to learn from these old methods.
They're more interested in the magical items coming across rather than the mummies themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got a regular success, correct?
Correct. Bang on. Just barely.
The interesting thing about all of this is magical artifacts, is magical items. There's very little focus on mummies.
Very good. Any items particularly of note around this time that
There's
you're keeping an eye on?
They mentioned that the various pieces, so this is kind of one person's writing, but they mentioned that of interest we should be looking at sort of like the key jewelry and pieces that people of import like pharaohs were buried with could have magical properties imbued into them. Otherwise, some religious artifacts. But he also says that the only reason that these are getting sort of like found is because they were left with the dead often. Otherwise, they would have been valuable enough that they are probably have been kept into modern possession and like yeah, that sort of thing.
Disappeared. Very good.
Great. So, Lucy, the floor's really warm. Room's nice. A lot of talking happening. You're all fine to continue through. The only thing I'll mention to you quickly is that because you occasionally get up to stretch your legs and whatever, you can tell that the two resident Fae, as opposed to Pudding, who comes and goes as they please. Specifically, Molly and Foxglove, who are Molly, obviously the kind of caretaker for the Folly itself. Foxglove, a sibling, and where Molly.
I think it's new. I have no idea what a foxglove is.
Foxglove is a person, another Fae. So a sibling of Molly's, and whereas Molly has taken the archetype of sort of like a caretaker, Foxglove has taken the archetype of an artist. Cool. Foxglove also emanates the anti-magic field that is used at this point.
I thought it was a spell that you were referring to, or like an artifact. I didn't realize it was like a.
She's a person,
yes. Cool. Feel free to correct me on any of that, Jackson, if you would have a different interpretation of.
I mean, I guess what your characters would possibly know if you'd asked. Molly's been here for 100 years after she was rescued from a bad situation. Basically, they were sold as slaves. Their Fae queen sold them to some humans as slaves 150, 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And Molly was rescued about 100 years ago, and she stayed in the Folly and refused to leave because of, it's a big scary world out there as far as we can tell. So she's become the maid. And then, Peter Grant rescued Foxglove in the course of the novels and reunited her with Molly, and they were very happy. And it just so happens that, hey, we could kind of use this anti-magic field as our custody suite.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. So you will notice that their behavior is just slightly changed. You've got a little bit of that extra sort of animal sense, and we've established that you have slightly odd interactions with them. You realize that both of them are a little uncomfortable at the presence of the mummy of Mary in the custody suite. They come out and they're doing a little bit of like something's up, not really necessarily distressed, but tweaked in a way that you haven't even seen when other practitioners or might have been brought into the custody suite. Yeah.
Do they talk? I mean, Pudding talks. So they like they
both of them are silent.
By choice.
It's a little unclear because
sure.
it's hard to get information out of them, but they're also higher Fae, like a sort of a much more demimond.
I believe
they're called the Demimonds because you're kind of half in the world of humans and half Fae, and we get on with the Demimond much better.
Oh, these
very hard to get on with the Fae, who are in a different dimension and much more alien.
Fun fact: there's evidence in the books that Molly's active on cooking blogs, but that's about it.
That's right. Yeah. She got big into cooking Twitter.
They are both like. I don't know as much about Foxglove. I believe Molly is silent in the sense that she doesn't talk. Whether she can or chooses not to or not is unclear from least the first. What she can do is hiss.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
So she does make sound. It's just not nice sound. Also, her teeth are all pointy.
Yeah, and this isn't a situation of like they're not angry, but they're definitely tense, and they would flip their eyes towards you in note of that, basically, as you're all pacing around, and there's a
noted.
Cool. So
I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna have to go and probably rewatch that section of the stream because I was down a rabbit hole. Because at some point, when we get to the point of like just chilling, I could not find the end date for the game of Senate. I think it might be a little bit too old, but Knucklebones, I'm pretty sure, was still a thing that was played. So at some point, I'm going to try and find some dice or some Knucklebones and just sit down and play a game.
I believe there's a really old set in the British Museum, which you might be able to. Anyway,
True.
So as we get towards the wrap-up point then for this session, what's the plan, gang? Go straight to the British Museum and try and find something? I mean, probably sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. And then by the time we've got some more research, we can get our translator in and have more complex conversations with Mary.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Perfectly sensible then. You'll call through Dr. Sams, and before long they will be able to help out Mary. You'll have to figure out exactly what you're going to do with her long term, but there's still questions of the others. And as the morning comes round, you probably grab a couple of hours sleep, except for Lucy, who's had a fantastic, rested, just feeling great. Plan
I'm still
to
gonna sleep in the car.
head towards the British Museum, flash your badges, and see just how far you can get.
Yeah.
I would like to do a very silly thing.
Please.
I'm gonna say that because of who my mums are, at least like I feel like this plays into the like I have such a weird relationship with occult stuff, and I'm gonna put that down to at least one of my mums, if not both, kind of having an ironic relationship to New Age stuff. So I fully want to like at some point go sit down and see if I can find Sobekara and Hathor, but like in those Oracle decks, to like try and understand the like what the New Age connections are.
Of them?
Yeah, because they often do loosely relate to historical, but like I'm fully like leaning into the like, okay, hang on a sec. I need to know more about occult stuff. Let me start with what I know, which is crystals and tarot cards, and let me work my way down from there.
I love that. That's brilliant. In which case, we'll leave things there, and a little teaser for next time then. You're all going to head towards the British Museum. And
in the afternoon, we need to sleep.
Yeah, in the afternoon. And there's a little bit of information that you haven't uncovered yet. So without spoiling too far, because I do want you to have fun with it, as if you were one of the cameras inside the specially designed custody suites, as Mary is left alone and wonder, oh, I'm so sorry, I've totally forgot one detail I needed to do. Let's end on that instead. Much better.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, no, sorry, as in your... I leave... Yep, go.
Yeah, sorry. No, I was going to give you like a little teaser for next time. Instead, let's leave on this other note. I'm so sorry. PC Lewis and Button.
Hi.
At one point, Mary is going to ask to speak with the two of you specifically.
Ooh.
And as practitioners, is going to, after a little bit of translation without putting present, it gets a little harder, but he's going to put forward the idea that as practitioners, she would be willing to share knowledge with you in return for your promise that you will return her and the others back to her homeland.
We can certainly try.
Okay. She...
well, we will have to, yes, take that
find the
under
others
consideration.
first, and then that'll be the first step. But you do nominally agree.
If we can, for sure. I'm agreeing. I will nominally agree.
Kick that up to my superiors before we make any international deals of arcane
Smuggle
knowledge.
out
I shake on it.
Smuggle out.
I
You
shake on it.
I was about to say she pressures for a thing, and you shake on it. And
I shake on it.
Yeah, that's so good.
Also, I can't speak for Petey here.
Fired.
I can't speak for Petey here, but I'll do my level best. I've got some mates around the globe.
Deal done. She will provide you with the information.
And I'm sure if PC Lewis here gets the go ahead, he's well and truly in also.
Perfect. Thank you, and we'll leave that little secret for next time then. Thanks so much everybody for playing. Thank you, Art. Thank you, Jackson. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Sirenscape and Roll20, tools which we use to improve our game. And thank you to all of the audience for watching. I appreciate it. And remember, check out the any nominated / awarded / just general fun stuff, all available at chaosium.com.
Check out all those award-winning scenarios.
Exactly. Thanks everybody, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Ciao.